Peace and happiness for everyone. Ashreinu, how good and beautiful is our heritage. Parashat Ki-Tetze, Tafshin Pei Bet. In Parashat Ki-Tetze, we find a concentration of commandments in the Torah regarding the relationship between Am Yisrael and other nations. Ammon and Moab, Edom, which is Esav, Mitzrayim, Egypt, and also Amalek. And one nation that I would expect to be in this list, and they're not here. Which nation is that? We'll get back to that later on. Most of the books with Perushim and Parashat Shavua have a lot to say about the story of the commandment about how Am Yisrael should relate to Amalek. We're not going to discuss that today because that's a broad and complex issue in and of its own. We're going to discuss the other nations that are mentioned here in the parasha. The Torah says Ammon and Moab cannot join Am Yisrael. Other nations, a person from another nation wants to join Am Yisrael to convert, they can. Ammon and Moab cannot join Am Yisrael. Edom and Mitzrayim, they can join after 3 generations, not immediately, after 3 generations. Why? Ammon and Moab did not help Am Yisrael when we were on our journey in the desert. Not only that, they hired Bilam to curse us. And it's deeper than that, because Ammon and Moab are sons of Lot. Lot was Avram's nephew. His father, Haran, Avram's brother, died, and Avram took him with him when he went from Haran to Eretz Canaan. And Lot did not return that. He didn't recognize the good that Avram did for him. And not only that, he did bad. He returned bad instead of good to Avram. His shepherds fought with the shepherds of Avram to the point where they had to split Eretz Canaan between them. Later on, Avraham saves Lot and the people of Sodom after they were taken prisoners by the 4 kings. And when Hashem destroys Sodom, the Torah stresses that Hashem remembers Avraham and saves Lot. So Lot is saved by Avraham 3 times. And yet the people, Ammon and Moab, do not have recognition of that good towards Am Yisrael. One of their descendants, their daughters, Ruth, does, and she not only is good and is a person of chesed, she goes way and beyond the call of duty, far beyond the call of duty, and she is an example of chesed, and she joins Am Yisrael. And we have a halacha in the Torah Shebe'al Peh that the men from Ammon and Moab can't join, but the women can. And the Torah is teaching us here about the importance of Hakarat HaTov, recognizing and thanking someone for the good that they have done for you, and how bad it is, and what is the depth of this bad trait and behavior, this negative trait and behavior, when you return to someone bad for good, and you don't recognize the good that they've done for you. Mitzrayim and Edom, other nations can join immediately. We're told in the Torah, they can only join after 3 generations. Seemingly, the Torah is saying something positive about them, but it's intricate, it's complex. On the one hand, they can't join immediately because Esav fought against Yaakov and Mitzrayim enslaved us. But there's also another side to it, because Esav is our brother. And in Mitzrayim, we lived for some generations. So the Torah is teaching us that sometimes these relationships are intricate. There's a negative side, there's a positive side. Don't overlook the negative, but don't make it all negative. Lo tita'ev Adomi lo tita'ev Mitzri. Don't despise them. Have an intricate, complex relationship with them. And if they want, they can join Am Yisrael after 3 generations. All these are messages that the Torah is teaching us. Halacha lema'aseh, the Gemara in Brachot says that Sancheriv, the king of Assyria, already mixed up all the nations, and any non-Jew who wants to join Am Yisrael can join, because we don't know what nation he's coming from. Is this just a coincidental something that happened in history and it happens to influence the halacha? Or is the Torah giving us a message here as well that in our times we should accept any person who wants to join Am Yisrael, and it doesn't matter what nation he's coming from? Maybe that's also a message. And who is not in this list? Lot separated from Avraham in the 1st generation, the generation separated from us in the generation of Avraham. Esav, Edom, separated from Yaakov. Yishmael is separated from Yitzchak, and Yishmael is not in this list. There are no restrictions to accepting a person from Yishmael who wants to join Am Yisrael. Not only that, we've mentioned in the past that when Avraham dies, Yishmael and Yitzchak bury him together. So whether the Ishmaelim today are descendants of the original Ishmael or not, maybe there is a positive, maybe there's an optimistic message here about the relationship between Israel and Ishmael. Shabbat Shalom.